welcome. This is week 2. These sessions are really for questions and time to get to know each other a little better. If there's any questions that you want to ask me about the assignments, it's a great time. I always like to start by asking if someone has a question. I don't want to miss that opportunity. Did you come in with a question at all?
So she was kind of explaining to me the chat GPT. Am I for the about you? It asks, for our self-written, about me, and then it asks us to put it in chat GPT.
Right.
Are we submitting both of those?
Yes. And of course, you don't have to use Chat GPT if you want to write your own, but you would need to go through Grammarly to make sure of that. And when you use Grammarly, I'll know that you didn't go through chat. But yes, people sometimes get a little confused about that. I will be clarifying that in this hopefully this short presentation. I don't like to take up anybody's time unnecessarily, but the task 1 is going to be your original responses, right? So sometimes I can tell that they've used their original responses, but they haven't posted those. I can tell in their finish that they answered all the same questions, but for task 1, you want to go ahead and put your answers there. Basically, it's a step through. You put them there, and then you're going to put them into chat because students are doing that anyway. But we're trying to get students in the good habit of understanding just how limited chat can be for them. And this is kind of a good exercise for that. But did that answer your question? You pretty much answered it yourself, I think.
Yeah. No, I was just confirming it. It's what it looked like. She made it sound like that, so I just wanted to confirm it.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to jump right in here and go over this overview of the week. First, you have your About page that you're working on. So by now, you've created your 3 pages and you're starting to put content in. All right, so your About is going to be simple. It's just a way to introduce yourself. It's just going to be 3 to 4 paragraphs, not too much, not too long, not too personal. We want to focus on the client because they're coming there to see what you can do for them. That's what they want to know. Right? So we try to avoid the long history of, I've been carrying a camera around since I was 3. Not to say that some of those personal things aren't valuable, and sometimes they help people connect with us. But generally, we want to remember that there are millions of websites out there, and people are just going to ours to find out what they need to know, right? So that's where we want to focus on what we can do for the client, right? And not much more there. It doesn't mean that you can't talk a little bit about some other things you're interested in, but we do want to keep it tight, all right? And the reason it matters, why we still have About pages, is that it does help build credibility. We still are looking at professional images, so we don't have dark sunglasses on typically, so people can see our faces. We're usually not in silhouette. Just so people it's oftentimes the first time that they encounter us and they connect, right? It also helps us stand out from the competitors, if we're a little more personable in that way. And it helps improve our search engines if we have an About. If someone is looking for your name, for sure, that will happen. And it supports your brand. We try and you're in digital cinematography, right? So
Yes.
right, so many of you are. And the brand identity is something that we go over very heavily in media communications. This is in the media communications program. And so, we emphasize having the same brand across all the social media that you have, your websites that you have, and any kind of videos and labeling or anything that we're sticking to the brand. And that may be your logo, it may be an image, but it's something that helps people recognize you quickly, right? So that's a part of your About page too. That's part of why we do it. You'll also have a professional photo. This doesn't have to be stellar, really just taking today with your cell phones and some natural lighting, you can do a great job. And It can be a placeholder of you, that's okay, but you might as well just, find some window light, take a picture if you don't already have one. Try, and use all the things you know about cinematography, get the catch light in the eye, that kind of thing, and keep the background really simple. And there's more about that, I think, in your assignment on what to do, what not to do. What you will deliver for 1 and 2 is going to be the web link, again, a link to your site, and a screenshot of your about page. So your finished about page with your paragraphs and your image, you're going to take a screenshot and submit that. All right. We talk about 3 paragraphs. That's usually all you need. 250 words is usually great. We have that instruction in the chat prompt. That way you're going to hit that no matter what. Stay with first person. If you're a novelist or something, we may be, talking differently, but we want to talk in the I format, rather than knowing that we wrote it and yet it sounds like someone else wrote it. We want to avoid that. We don't need to put age. That is something that will not be evergreen, so you'd have to go in every year and update that. So we don't, that's only one reason we don't do it, but we also want to avoid any kind of ageism or anything like that. Family details. We don't want a lot of family photos. It may be that that's something that you're really good at, and maybe you're a family cinematographer, but if not, then we try and leave our children and things off. It's kind of like with our phone numbers. We really don't want to put that much personal information out there for just anybody. So those are things you want to keep in mind. The questions that you are given for task 1, what's your name and your main skill, which we call a tagline, just a simplified skill. What tools do you like to use? What kind of projects do you like to work on? What kind of companies do you like working with? Are they nonprofits or corporate? What kind of things you find yourself most attracted to at this point, or maybe things you want to do more of? And then this may not be in the assignment, but what city you serve, because that will help with search engine. And so that's something that you want to do. It will distinguish you when people are saying, a cinematographer near me, which can be a very good choice in week 3 for some of your SEO keywords that will come up again. And then just a short call to action, how to contact you, contact me, reach out for this, that kind of thing. Looks like Casey is joining us. Can you hear me, Casey?
I can. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Mr. Greenlee's
Sure.
class went all along.
Sure. And this will be recorded. It may not go posted till tomorrow, as I was explaining to Cameron. I'm screen flowing it because I can edit quickly and better, but I don't necessarily have time to do that today, but I might. But you will get this also uploaded. What is today? Wednesday, so this is actually due today. I don't think there's anything that isn't covered in the assignment necessarily. What you see here are the questions that we want you to answer. I threw in what city you serve. That will help you for your search engines and things like that, and help you stand out in your area. The other thing is the question came up, and sometimes it does. For task 1, we do want your original answers, so it would be answers from this. Hi, Shanae, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. What we have on the screen here are just your questions for task 1, for your about assignment that's due tonight, I think. We have, I don't know, Shanae, I may have it due Thursday, so double check that. What city you serve, that's a question that we want to make sure, I want you to add that, because it might not be there. So really, if you show up here, you get that little tidbit. The video will go up later. So You are going to post your original questions for task one. You do want to keep it clear, keep it human, even though you're going to use chat. When you answer all those questions, you're going to use the prompt that will give you a nice tight finish. You still want to go through and look at it. When we talk about chat making mistakes, we don't mean that they make the kind of mistakes we make, like typos and things like that. It makes really big mistakes. It can say the opposite, or word things in a way that it means the opposite. So definitely go through and check it and make sure it doesn't sound too much like AI. The other thing about AI, chat has earmarks, right? It has M dashes that it uses. It tends to go for like 3 long sentences. There's just things that it will do. And once you start to recognize that, you want to be able to edit some of that and definitely have your voice. I've had students who have followed the instructions. They've written their first in task one, and then they've submitted for task two, what they uploaded to the site from chat. And at least in one case, what the student wrote was so much better. He was a podcaster, and it really fit his style, and chat just stripped that all out. So you do want to, use it as a help, but, recognize that it's not human and that you are. And that's why we do this exercise, right? So you can get practice with that. Make sure we left align our paragraph text. It's easier to read for the eye to return to the same place each time, and that's why we do that. It also offers you a great straight edge, so we want to do that. 18 to 20 points is really good, 16 technically, but there are so many fonts that are too small at that size, especially if it has a fine stroke, like some of our templates do that students choose. So I would recommend 18 points for good measure. Make sure you have strong color contrast. Make sure our text stands out from our background. That's why we don't use busy backgrounds or put a lot of images in the background or overlap images and videos. Really hard for readability. And then, as we already said, you're going to proofread it for the tone mostly. Chat's going to get the grammar right. It's going to get the spelling right. But it may use a word that has a different meaning in the same spelling. So you want to check that. But mostly it's the tone. Make sure it sounds more like you. Okay. Oops. So this is the prompt. You're just going to paste your responses just like this into those particular places, and then you'll have your finish that you want to preview. Okay. You want to make sure it reflects your voice. We talked about that. Remove anything that doesn't feel like you at all, doesn't feel like your brand. And again, before you add it to your About page, double check it again. All right? Okay. Any questions about the writing and the chat component?
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
For mines, I had put, I don't know how to say it, but for my first one, I had put a lot of stuff in, but wasn't sure
Okay.
about it. But
That's
so
okay.
are we for this one putting? How can I explain
Yeah.
it? I'm
Here.
trying to get it out. I'm sorry.
Okay. What you wrote in task one is great. Okay. It doesn't matter how long it is. It doesn't matter what you put in there. As long as you answered those questions as honestly as you can, it's great. Okay. It can have errors. It's okay. And then you're going to use this prompt that is given to you, and you're going to fill in your name, what your skill is. Keep it to one skill, and then paste all your responses here. It doesn't matter how long it is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and then you're going to end with a call to action. And that you don't have to do anything with either, because this is what you're telling chat to do. Okay?
And we post that on task 1, this paragraph right here
Well,
for ChatGPT.
Okay, this is going to be what you do for task 2.
Okay.
Okay, so for task 1, you're just answering these questions. And it sounds like maybe you've done that or started to. This is what you'll do in task 1. You'll answer these questions and you'll post those to FSO. Okay?
Okay.
Just your name, what you do, what you hope to do, projects that you like, whether it's documentaries, what kind of tools do you like to work with, or cameras, who do you enjoy working with? Is it nonprofits or corporate, that kind of thing? What city are you in? That may not be on FSO, but you can add that. And you can add a short call to action. You can say, contact me. You don't have to give them your number. You can say, reach out to me if you'd like, to work together, that kind of thing. Okay? And
Okay.
those answers are going to go in task 1, and you can be as wordy as you want. Okay? You can make mistakes. You can work through it. You can think about it and write that down. And then in task 2, you're going to take what you wrote in task 1 and you're going to fill in these spots. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And once you do that, chat will give you something. It'll be the right number of word count. And you'll look at that and you'll say, this doesn't feel like me. It does. You can either direct chat to make it feel a little more like you, or you can go in and make your edits as you like. Or you may love it. It may be right on. But you do want to double check it. And then that is what you will put on your website, into your About page. Okay, that finish. And you'll take a screenshot of that whole page with a professional photo. It can just be with your cell phone and natural lighting or something, and your paragraph that chat gave you that you reviewed. Okay, and this will walk through this again, and it will probably start to make more sense when you see it again in the assignment. Okay, so this is chat. Chat is just task 2, the second part. It's just using it to help you write, that's all, after you write it. So you'll proofread it. For your professional photo, mostly depends on what professional is in your industry. You may be a cameraman and you wear different clothing than maybe a corporate producer. Okay, so you're going to wear what in your photo, whatever it is typical for your role. Okay, the things you've learned about lighting, and definitely clear focus, a simple background. Cars make great photos because we've got light coming in from all angles and it's filtered, but we can't use car photos for our professional photo. Okay, so make sure you're in the right location and the background's neutral. And look at the camera as if you're talking to a friend, or you're reaching out to a client who you hope to work with. Okay, consider that, but it doesn't have to be overly formal. Okay, you don't have to dress up a lot. You just want the basic things. Clean background. Good lighting, that kind of thing. And if later you choose to update it, which is going to happen, that's fine too, but use what you can. And like I said, a cell phone is fine for this. You don't have to get all the equipment out. Of course, if you want it steady, you could use prop your phone up or use a tripod or something. Cropping to shoulders and head, or just above the waist, is fine. Having a little bit of personality is fine, right? If that's you, then go for that, right? And then, as I say, you're going to take that photo, and you may already have one, and that will be fine. Doesn't have to look like you today, as long as it's not too old. And then text, right? That paragraph that you wrote, that chat cleaned up for you, you're going to put those usually side by side. So your text would be over here, and your image is going to be on the left or the right. As long, if it's on the left, you're looking in. If you're you wouldn't put this on the right because you'd be looking off screen, right? So whichever, but we usually try and keep it above the scroll. That's why we do it like this. So that when somebody lands on the About page, they know exactly what they're going to get, and it's exactly what we promised when they selected About page. Okay, they don't have to scroll to get to the content. I think that's about it. Proximity, is a design principle that just means keep the content that's related together. Okay, let's see. So, just a recap of your deliverables. Task 1 is going to be your original responses to the questions and your link. Okay, you don't have to produce multiple links. Any link to your website will do. Okay, sometimes students will submit a contact link page and it's all the same website. So one link is fine. I will find your About page. Okay. Just make sure that you're not copying your URL inside your Wix editor because I won't have access to that, remember? So make sure you use the Publish button on the top right and then copy the link that window pops up and gives you. And that's what you want to submit. And we'll keep that simple. You could also preview your site and copy that URL, but try not, if it has the word editor in your URL that you're submitting to FSO, then it's not going to your site. Okay, it's going to your editor and I can't access that. So task 2 is after you put all of that together on your About page and lay that out the way you like it, you're going to take a screenshot and submit that for task 2. So task 2 is just a screenshot of your page once it's completed. Okay. Any questions about the deliverable?
Not on my end.
Okay. All right. You can always, reach out to me through the assignment. And if you get real panicked, you can text me. But usually, if you're really having trouble, I'm not going to hold you to the 11:59. And remember, if you post your link, you can continue to work on it past 11:59, and I won't know the difference unless I grade it at midnight, which I'm not going to. Okay, so that link will be good tomorrow morning or the next day. Does that make sense? So if you post your link to the assignment, you could do that. Well, you all probably have your links now. You could do that now and not be late on that part. You can always test your site in the published, or you could use an incognito window. Make sure your hyperlink opens in a new window. Use task 1 and task 2 headings in FSO that organizes your work. And make sure your screenshot is a full page. Okay. You also want it viewable on FSO. That means you're going to go into, when you're in FSO, you're going to use your tools, but you're going to use the image icon and to upload that screenshot, and it'll be viewable. If anybody needs help with that, let me know, and I will go over that after we're finished here. All right, I'm going to go through this quickly. I know you guys have been in the earlier session. I don't want to take too much of your time. Your responses are going to be worth 40 points with your link. Okay, so you're going to respond to all the questions and provide your link. That's 40. Your About page and professional photo, that content is 40 points. And then your screenshot and kind of layout, that's going to be 20 points. Basically, did you submit your screenshot for your task 2? Okay. But this is the content we'll be looking at, the About and the photo. But you do want to submit the screenshot of that, all right? We talked about the published link instead of the one when you're in your editor and working, the URL. Don't do that. If you forgot to post your original responses, then you probably are going to have to paste your finish into task 1, but do something so you don't lose full credit there for task one. It's not terrible to be casual. You don't want to be overly casual. You know, you're meeting some people for the first time through your writing. And we don't want to be vague. And that's something that chat does really well. It can be really generic. And we won't stand out. We won't sound human. It will fill in a lot of buzzwords. And it may sound professional, but it really isn't. And people are really aware of it by now. And that's why you want to make sure that you have those specific details about yourself before you go into chat. Make sure you don't have an unprofessional photo or background. And then I think you'll be good. These are just some of the common mistakes that students will make, okay? That you want to watch out for, those pitfalls. All right, so you've got resources available to you on FSO. Usually resources is at the bottom of your assignment, right? If you need those links, like how to take a professional headshot at home, all that is there. Make sure you've looked over the Wix beginner tutorial. By now you probably have, because you're already working in Wix, but that will have a lot of help and answers for you there. So finally, just keep it client-centered and clear. Try and make a professional connection with them. That's your goal. And keep things really simple. Another important reason to do that is when you get into week 4, remember, if you haven't heard me say this already, you'll be looking at accessibility. And any content that you put in your website will have to be run through that filter, and you'll have to adjust it and make it accessible. So putting in a lot is not better. It's not better for you, and it's not better for the client visiting your site. We want to keep it simple and clear, and then it will have more impact. Okay? Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So these are, in a nutshell, the steps you're going to take. Task 1, responses. Let chat polish it for you. Make sure you upload a headshot to your About page and the text that chat gave you. Send your link and a screenshot of your whole page. So basically, you're just working on your About page, replacing all that placeholder for sure. Any questions? Well, you can contact me through the assignment. That's where I look for your work. And if you are late, that's where you want to make your request, so that when I go to grade, I see your request right there. That's how that feedback works. It's right there with your assignment, and that's why it's so important to correspond with me with that specific assignment. Any questions about tonight's assignment? Okay, I think you're all good. So then when you get to your draft, you're going to be uploading some of your personal or professional work. Don't make it too personal, but it can be a job that you did that, was just something, passion project or something. That's okay, as long as it meets the DCBS and MC content policy. You have to be sure of that. And it could be schoolwork. Sometimes students, depending on if they're in the associate or a bachelor's, associate students don't always have a lot of examples, and that's fine. You can use your student work. Have at least 2 examples. It's better to have your best than a lot. A lot will just slow your site down. But you'll be working on that over the weekend, okay? Finishing everything up like that. And again, it's still your draft. You'll get detailed feedback from me or from Abby if you're in her class. And you'll be resubmitting it. But that's where we are right now. And I think you're probably moving along at a great pace. All right. Any questions before we sign off?
No, I'm good on this end. I appreciate the slideshow. That's actually really helpful going through and just making sure that you have all those points.
Good. I know it's a little redundant, but students sometimes need to hear it more than once. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Different points of view, and this is I would say a more chewable form of the information, just because sometimes we were talking about blocks of text and websites. FSO can feel like that sometimes. So it's nice to have a, boiled down version.
Yeah. I love going, FSO can get bloated really fast.
Yes.
Instructors do that. We want to give you all this stuff.
I appreciate it, but
But no.
it's about delivery too.
Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that. And let's see. So if you have any questions, I know we don't really meet again for the two before your draft site, but hopefully you're walked through it, and just don't sweat it too much. You will be getting detailed feedback on it. As long as you can go over the checklist, which you'll be doing. You'll be checking your peers' website coming up after your draft. You'll go through your peers for a feedback for them, and you'll use the same checklist. So you'll see that checklist so many times. But again, we're going to give you detailed feedback after you turn in your draft for me, it's next Monday. It may be next Sunday for Abby, I don't know. All right. Okay, everybody. I really appreciate you showing up. It makes it so much easier to engage when there's someone here. And,
I imagine.
and your ideas are so fresh, your questions are so thoughtful, and it really helps. It helps everybody. All right. Have a great afternoon and a great evening, and I will be seeing you online.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
See y'all.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right.